It's the Psychic Sleuth, and I'm back. Sorry I had to take a little break, a couple weeks off. I have a lot of personal stuff going on. In case no one told you, the life of a light worker is extremely tough sometimes. We just have a tough time. I don't know why that is, but anyways, I'm here to do the reading on, and I'm sorry if I say it wrong, Dulce Maria Alavez. Alavez. Or I don't know if it's Dulce. I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong, honestly. I haven't heard her name. I've only read it. So this is for September 26th, 2019 was when I did this. Just to remind you guys, I get past, present, and future. In a case, things can be symbolic, and not all may fit her, as most of you know. Sometimes I have interconnect because of the spirit's way of doing things with me. I do know it can be confusing. We kind of have to pick and choose sometimes what fits, but also it can mean that it fits for both cases or more than one case, multiple cases. So I first got info back on her and Erica, and also Susan. And the name Maria was mentioned, as well as Custard. Also Van was mentioned, and Andrea, as well as the number 5. And I'm sure the more things that fit. We're thinking that Dragon might go here from Charlie's reading, which is Charlie and Susan's, and there might be some fits from Jennifer as well. I'm not really sure why I was getting stuff on her from so long ago, but usually if I do, it's important. So let's see, like I said, as well as the number 5 and Andrea, and I'm sure there are more things that fit. Also the zoo, I feel interconnects. Erica, Dulce, I don't know how to say her name, I apologize, and Andrea. I think I'm just going to call her Maria because that's easier for me. I really don't want to butcher her name. And maybe the zoo interconnects because it's where they went missing, or it's past. Because Erica, the Coliseum was by the zoo. Maria, Dulce, however you say her name, she was by the zoo. Andrea was by the zoo. So that's why I'm thinking they're kind of interconnecting a little bit. So I think the zoo kind of interconnects because of where they went missing, or it's passed along the way. Because I also received info on her and Cecilia, which is posted in the group. I haven't been able to do a video on that yet. I'm going to try to get that done either today or tomorrow. I don't know. I've had a really long day. But I didn't really want to do Cecilia yet. I wanted to do another reading. It's not very clear, but I think I might. Anyways, just because of interconnects, I want to try to release everything. So I also got Zoo and Cecilia. Like I said, Zoo came in also in an EVP. Now I'm only kind of using EVPs to validate the readings and see if we can get more info that way, but mostly my info comes from channeling spirit myself. Cecilia's reading is in the group, the Psychic Sleuth podcast group. I have yet to make a video on it, like I said. I've had a rough few weeks. Things have just been such a train wreck, and I'm so far behind, I'm just trying to play catch up. I was wanting to do, like I just said, so I'm sorry I repeated, but I kind of wanted to do another reading on her to get a good location, because I wasn't able to get great location on her as well. But I may just release that video anyways and work on another one. So back to Maria, or Dulce, Maria, Dulce. Honestly, if you guys tell me how to say her name, I'll say it right. I apologize. I feel so bad. I'm probably totally saying it wrong. But I also want to do another reading on her because I didn't get a really great location. She did describe it over and over, but it was hard to find out exactly where it is. So I also have another one planning I'm going to do on Susan. So this was the first reading that I've done in about a couple weeks because I was a little blocked with all of the BS going on. So I wasn't able, like I said, to get like really clear location. Either that or she's having a hard time describing where she is. No names, just more description, and the man, and what he does for work, etc. So sometimes it takes more than one reading to get a clearer picture, as you know, and I can only give what I get. Sometimes they find it hard to explain where they are, especially as a little kid. I learned that, I always thought they always knew, but I think from watching Cincy Murder and shows like that they don't always know how to describe where they are, and they don't always know exactly where they are, which is weird because I always thought that spirit knew everything, but I'm learning that as I go. So I do know a little bit on how she went missing. We did it in a way to validate what we had already gotten before she ever went missing. And sometimes they start off with what we kind of know to validate. But I try not to know anything of the story, as you guys know. I try to go in blind. But when it was before I ever worked on it, we were validating things like Maria, her middle name, that I got in the zoo. There's like I said, a lot of things that I mentioned before that we had gotten prior, the van, the custard, all that. So this came up and we're like, oh crap, all this fits here. And I started getting stuff on this way back when actually one of the things I got for her that could fit here, I got way back when I was working on Cheryl in April. So anyways, sometimes they repeat what happened in the beginning, but they add to it to kind of show us or to help it go. So okay, so the first thing I got was Eduardo. So starting off with things, and Eduardo is Edward in Spanish, so I don't know if it's really Eduardo or it's supposed to be Edward, but so starting off with things we kind of know. So like I said, also I'm thinking that there may be clues for her in Andrea, and also like I said, Cecilia, until I get the releases in the group, and also Susan, Charlie, and even Malia, which that's going to come in a little bit. So anyways, so first off, I see like a park, and I see the swings, and I see an out of the way area that's kind of by trees, and I see a van that's sort of hidden, and I got van back in Andrea's, and then I see him coax her, something about how he knows her mom or something, and has something he wants to show her. So I see his hand clasp her hand, and it squeezes it tight, and then I see at one point he picks her up and carries her like with one arm under her legs and the other around under her neck. I don't know if he did something to knock her out, but maybe that kind of looks like it, maybe chloroform or something like that, because normally I feel by this point that she would have screamed or something, and I just see her sort of in a sleep or knocked out state, and I hear sliding of a van door. You know how that like kind of slide sound, that could be the van door, it could be something else, but it's just like a sliding sound. I don't know, I think maybe part of the license plate could be PGN3. It came in right after I was trying to zoom in for the license plate, so I was hoping that's what it is. This way it comes in anyways. And also a 7 was shot at me, and I hear the word Valina or something similar, and it was being repeated, and I get a reference to a white cloth and a reference to stalking, watching, hear the words pedo, deep secrets, and bad thoughts, reference to child porn. I don't know why I see him put a hat on and dark sunglasses that are round and big. This could be after the fact or before, or he just wears it sometimes, but definitely I see it. I hear lots of Spanish speaking in a male voice. Trying to see what he looks like. I see hair coming out kind of the back of his hat, so I do think he has some hair, a bit wavy. I don't know if it's cut now, though. I also see a reference to a rounder, fuller face and a mustache and a beard. Now, even if he didn't have one at the time, I see them, how they look sometimes, or maybe before or after. So there are points where he has a little facial hair, or has facial hair. Hear the word hijack, but I don't know why. I see they show me $10,000, or the number 10,000. I don't know if it's a reward or just talk about money in general, or if it's supposed to be that 10,000 for whatever, just the number for whatever reason. I mean, it could be he's thought about selling her. I'm not really sure about that, but it may fit somewhere. That's what I was shown. So trying to see what direction and if he knew her. Now, the day she went missing, I heard in my head, spirits say she'll be found along the side of the road. And this always makes me so sad. I hope I'm wrong. Like, I would love to be wrong about this, honestly. And if I am, it's because I'm picking up someone else, as you guys know. But all I know is what they show me and what I see. So it was kind of weird. And I was kind of like, okay. And then I heard those words. I don't know, just alongside of the road, and I was like, okay. So I think I want to go, I don't know if I want to go up or down. I think she kind of gets mixed up on her directions. But Green Witch kind of stuck out to me for some reason. And because Witch had been coming in, and we had gotten green, so if it's not her, it might be somebody else. I do get drawn to things, and then they end up making sense later. So I heard something like Hope Springs, but I don't know exactly what that means. And I got Hope prior to this as well in one of those girls' readings that I mentioned. I can't remember exactly which one it was. I was hoping she was alive, but as far as I'm being shown, sadly, like I said, I don't think that's the case. I see a reference to him doing things to her, and I see his hands around her throat, and her face kind of goes lifeless. That's kind of how they show me these days. She hugs a teddy bear and then a hippo, stuffed animal, kind of weird combo, maybe symbolic. I can hear her voice. It's a sweet voice, and I don't know what this means, but I heard El Capitan, and I think that means the captain in Spanish. I get a reference to this guy mowing lawns. I think I see him pushing a lawnmower and fixing someone's sink. The next morning after this, I hear groundskeeper. So I wasn't doing the reading when I heard that. I woke up with it. We were talking about the case and I heard it, and that will probably make sense later with what I saw. He also made you odd jobs. I think he'd seen her before, or that in some way knows her or her family. There seems to be a connection there. Seems the word plumbing is spelt out. Trying to see if there's a reference to a small dirt road. I want to say to the right, feels like. I feel like there's a reference to a puddle, and I don't know why. It may be symbolic, or maybe in like a small area of water, or maybe, like I said, symbolic in a name or something, like a puddle or water. Feels sort of desolate or out of the way. Feels quiet. Feels really not really traveled. She shows me devil horns, and I believe that be a reference to him, or it might be something else. I've been getting that a lot lately. And I hear the word slide. Not really sure why. I hear the word pixie. Now, that was validated to me today. Something that I did not know at all. But I had posted this reading in the group last night before I was able to make a video. And someone messaged me and said that they use that. That pedos use that word in code. So I didn't know that. So that was kind of a weird validation. I hear the word justice, and I heard the name Arturo, and I'm asking, where are you? And she is, I think she's having a hard time showing me. I don't know if maybe there's not a name to the road or something like that, but I don't think she's around the area where she was. I think she's further out. I was getting banked too, and that also came in an EVP before she went missing. And that is a street around the zoo. Also, Pearl is a street by the zoo. I got that in one of the girls' readings that I mentioned earlier. It feels kind of outskirts of city, or it feels like, there's not much around. Under my arm, I started hurting all of a sudden. I felt like as if she was conscious, she would have screamed, and I felt like she knew him for some reason. Like, there feels like familiarity there. And the only reason why she kind of listened to him, and I don't feel like a complete stranger, and doesn't feel like a complete stranger, I don't know. Sorry about that, but for those of you who have dogs, understand when they're playing, they just randomly do that. So, like I said, she doesn't feel like a complete stranger. Maybe he knew her, she knew him from somewhere. I think he may want to peep in windows, unless it's just hers, because I saw him looking in the windows, and I see her getting dressed, and he's watching, and he's doing stuff, and that's all I'm going to say. I don't know why she's showing me that. Maybe he's got a past in it, or maybe he was watching her prior. I don't know the van if is his vehicle that he's known for driving, or how it even fits. I could have just got van because it's known, but I kept kind of seeing that kind of vehicle, like it looked big on the inside. But I got the letter H. That's coming before. Feeling a bit nauseous. Anything she shows is important, and I try to be gentle in what I say. But maybe peeping Tom, and there's a reference to, I don't know if it's knowing her from afar or something. I feel like followed. He could be connected to someone the family knows. That name Arturo is repeating, and I get his hands and clothes sort of smell like someone who does labor and plumbing, that kind of gross oil type stuff. Names can be first, middle, last, or nick, or connections, or even places. However, it came in like a name, and then places that I get, or things I get, can be things past, that you pass by when you're driving, kind of like directions. Sometimes they do give directions to where they are, in a way, if you put it all together. So I don't know. She shows me a cauldron and the word Salem. This could be symbolic for someone that's into that kind of stuff, or for another reason. It's all words that have to do with witches she was giving, so I don't know if there's names around the area or history. Also, she showed me a black cat crossing the street. It can be symbolic, and I feel like he knows, they kind of have info on him or something. There's reason for, I don't know if he stashed the car, got rid of the car, or hid the car. There's something with him not having the same car. and then sort of added a bit of disguise or changed his appearance a little bit. I kept getting reference to a white vehicle, and I was thinking before this reading that maybe he sold her, but then what is coming through now is he's just a sicko. I got something that's sounding like Valhalla. I ask her where she is, and I get nauseous, and I hear road less traveled. She shows me the color green, and I feel like I'm leaving the city, and I'm in between cities, and like I pull over, I do my thing, I jump her close to where, and it's like a pull off, a lone road that's not traveled a whole lot, or at least stopped on. Goes back to the first thing that Spirit said when I learned that she was missing, and there was a reference, and I learned when she was missing, sorry. There's a reference to left, so maybe the left side of the little dirt road, or out of the way. I kept getting a reference to Malia, and this was interesting in how she was disposed of and where she was found on the side of the road. They only do this, so this doesn't feel like a main road, so it's kind of like that same situation, like she kept referencing her like similar areas, like kind of similar ways in which she was, where he put her was kind of the similar ways, because Malia was right off the road. So I don't know, I kept seeing a Denny's sign. I don't know if they have Denny's out there. It could just be a restaurant or a diner. It could be, that's how I relate to it. So you could pass one, or it could be close by, but I look around and I see farmland, and I see the road on the right, and that's pulled off, and but then she's on the left of that road, and I think it's a dirt or gravel road, because I hear trees chirp, tires crunch, and I think he took her life in that van, and then turned the van around, or a big car. It's definitely got a big back to it, because I kept feeling like spaciousness. And it was on the left, and he, put her out of the car. I get a reference to, like I said, roomy in the back of that car or the van. I see barbed wire. Those fences are that like keep out cattle or whatever. There's like a couple of them. Then there's like a big space in between, and I feel she could be on the other side of that. Like he put her through the gap, and I guess I get a reference to really tall grass and really covering. She shows me a cross, so I don't know if that means a church or close to where a church is, but I also saw like a lone tree on the other side of the barbed wire. I don't know, this could be symbolic, or it could just be a way of marking where she's at. The tree looks like it's old lone oak tree, or like I said, it could be symbolic. But that's what it reminds me of. And I'm like, where are you, baby girl? And I hear, I'm just out here. It's hard because I kept trying to see a street or name or something, and at this time I wasn't really getting anything. It could mean she's not really near on it, like the street isn't named, I don't know. But she kept repeating an image of where she was, and I kept seeing the same thing over and over, and it was like the tall grass off the side of this little dirt road, and there's like a big like tree by itself, and then there's like this barbed wire or whatever. And she kept saying springs and the color red, which we know, pumpkin spice and everything nice, which pumpkins were in Malia, so that could be another thing. Tall grass, a lone tree, a barbed like wire, and cows or something like that. I also think she may be wrapped in something, a blanket or something. I see crows, black crows flying, or it could be ravens, sort of look the same in a vision. I hear outskirts, they need to expand the search. She shows me cows, and I kept getting the newer smell with Cecilia, and I wonder, I see them graze in the distance, so I'm wondering if that may be here, because I was actually getting that for like a few weeks. I was trying to get more, and I kept asking, where are you? And I think it's hard for her just to describe. I don't know if she knows, or if the street doesn't have a name, or I'm not really sure, but maybe I'll get more when I do the next reading. So some can describe better than others, and more of where they are, than others. Feels like you pass farmland. I kept getting a V. I don't know, I see a fish or a trout, and he had to walk off the road. I just see really tall grass, and I see like no one really stops on that road. It really reminds me, and I kept getting reference to Malia, and I'm sorry repeating that, but she kept referencing it. And like the area is like similar, or the way it is off the side of the road, and so it looks like a light blue blanket. I got a reference to pink, so I don't know if her shoes were white, but you can see a bit of them out of the blanket. This tree looks like one that stands alone. I don't know, I kept seeing the tree, the tall grass and the barbed wire. She kept repeating that vision to me. And I think, like I said, he did what he did in the van, turned around, walked her out, because I felt carried. And I wonder if he's married or something, because I kept seeing a wedding ring. And his hands are those of someone who works with him a lot. And I think he may work on cars too. I see him with a wrench under one. And I want to remind everybody that everybody is innocent until proven guilty. These are just psychic impressions, or mediumship impressions, however you want to say it. So it looks to be late 30s, early 40s, somewhere around that age. I don't know if her mom or female used to comb her hair or brush her hair. Female or mom. So it's someone that used to comb or brush her hair a lot, and she really liked it. And there's singing involved, but that's what I see. I also get a reference to cartoons. I know that kids like them, but as I'm typing out the reading, or when I was typing this out, I was showing them. And I don't know if she smiled sometimes. When she smiled sometimes she had a little dimple, but I kept seeing that. And then I see coloring and drawing and playing outside and enjoying it. Also certain Mexican food that she loved that her mom or a female cooked. Someone cooked for her. Month of January, July, and October, they can be a connection to him, his family, or hers. Or, when I usually get months, it's something specific: birthdays, anniversaries, passings, something, when they're going to be found, stuff like that. It's kind of weird because I think, I was going to say this is around the same time as Malaya, but I don't think it is. So, let's see, I see her being tucked in with a kiss on her forehead. Number 63, the month of February, she shows me hearts, reminds me of Valentine's Day, but also just to symbolize the month, because that's how I relate to it. I see her in awe with certain things in life, and her pointing. I don't know if she loved animals, but she shows me a dog and a cat, and there was a song that her mom sung or hummed to her, or a female hum. I think it's her mom she's talking about, but anyways, that she enjoyed, and I see her singing in Spanish. Also the mention of memory of swimming or playing in water, and I hear the words "I'm sorry," and she says she knew better but went anyway, and that she feels bad about that. She says she's sorry she didn't listen. I hear her laughter, and sometimes it turned into like a high-pitched screaming laughter, like how kids do. She feels bad for trusting this guy. She's got the word rambunctious. I don't know if she was rambunctious or not, but I also shown a hammer, so I don't know. It can symbolize that kind of work, building, or whatever. I kept hearing Hoparella, and I don't know what it means. I think it could be another way of bringing up hope, because I got hope before, or it could mean something else. I'm not sure. I think this man could be tied to others, or they could be in the future, maybe even in the past. But he's one that would continue, and I feel that he has a dark past. I don't know if people are aware of it or not, but I feel like, I don't know if there's abuse or something like that. And I don't know, I'm wondering if he did any kind of work for him, like her parents or someone that they knew, because there's a connection there. I kept getting reference to him working for either the family or somebody that the family knew, and there's a connection, and he's seen her around. And I'm seeing a trampoline right now as I'm talking to you, and I don't know what that means, unless she was jumping on one, or it's symbolic. I don't really know. Sorry, not trying to get anything as I'm talking. So let's see. But I think he did have a different vehicle or something, because otherwise the mom would recognize it. But I kept getting a white vehicle, and so I don't know if he changed vehicles or whatever afterwards, or but I think he has more than one car. Also the word place, she shows me headstones. It's usually symbolic of a cemetery, and that's where I kind of think the groundskeeper could come in. It could go with the church and the cemetery, that he could keep grounds, but also does odd jobs, like the jack of all trades kind of thing. And the American flag is waiting. Usually American flag for me is veteran, but it could be, that there is American flag there, or something like that. So it could be a veteran cemetery, something like that. So I hear words post office, which also I know American flag waves. So I hear the word sugar, herald, reference to maybe a second road, the word queen, number 8. Way back working on Cheryl, I got the song Battle of Jericho. It was stuck in my head for a couple days. I'm starting to wonder if it fits here, because I saw that word on a road somewhere. Also wondering, like I said, if there are things in Erica, Andrea, Cecilia, Susan that fit here. They all seem to interconnect with similarities in the zoo or building. Also the number 55 and A. So that's all for now. Hopefully this is helpful. I try not to get off track. I try to go with the flow. If you need to read it, it is in the group. Join the Psychic Sleuth podcast. If you don't answer the questions, I'm not going to let you in. So that's all for now. Hopefully this is helpful. I think it's more than we had before. I'll keep working on it. Hopefully I can get also a video released of validations and pools and randoms that I've posted in the group. I've also done that because I have a list that I get, because sometimes stuff will come to me when I'm sleeping and I will wake up and I will write it down, or I will be pulled to a name and it will fit somewhere, or things from other readings. So I have a list, and then I have my readings, of course, and as things happen and we match it up, we validate it in the group. And I also, with the the random auto writes and the world events, we do that too. Because a lot of the names and stuff I got were around the shootings as well. They were street names around the shootings. So I need to go through the group and hopefully type all that out and print it up, type all that out and then do a video for you guys so you guys can see the validations. But you can go back in the group and see when I posted all that. It was a long time ago. And I try to update the list, all the time, so you can go in there and see the list, because sometimes it will fit this case, sometimes it will fit somewhere else. I don't really ever know why I get what I get. That's something that's new to me with the randoms and pools, but it's matching cases and it's matching world events and stuff like that. So it's really interesting, and I really want to get a video on that, so I'm going to work on that for you guys. Also, I do talk about stuff in the group before I talk about it here, before I can do videos here. There's readings released in the group that I haven't released here. Like I did Caitlin's a long time ago. I haven't released it out here. I'm kind of on the fence about that because of where she is. Cecilia, I think it was last month, and I just haven't got it released. So those things are in the group. Because I know the one thing that came in Cecilia was Ryder, the name Ryder, and that little girl did go missing, and I had gotten ATV for a while, and they found her. And the crazy thing is I got Jackson and Malia, and she was found off of Jackson. And also, I got Jackson and EVP. That's another thing I want to do, is go through and type out my EVPs that I got, just to see if they fit anywhere. I thought it was interesting because it was a couple days before she was found, or I don't even know if she had gone missing yet, but I got that word Jackson. So it's all kind of interesting, and it's just kind of good to validate things. So those are some of the ideas that I have. So I plan on putting it together. We've been accumulating validations for a while now. I have a lot. It's going to be a long video. So thank you for liking and subscribing. I appreciate you guys. Take it easy, and I'll see you next time. Oh, if you have any validations, please let me know. gentleheartreadings@hotmail.com or thepsychicsleuth@gmail. Please, or you can reach me on Facebook. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.